Hi, everyone. It's Tamra, the Judeo Christian medium. Let me fix the camera so I don't have such a glare on my glasses. Um, Please forgive my appearance. Today was a beach day. You can still see, I don't know if you can see, I have sunscreen on. So, anyway, it's just a really nice sunny day here in New York. Let me fix there's no. Oh, thank you, Blue Willow. I appreciate that. I'm trying to reduce the glare on my glasses. Hi, Alyssa, and hi, Blue Willow. How are you guys doing? How is I don't know, it's just a really nice Saturday here in New York. How is your Saturday where you are? Okay, let me see here. So, let me introduce myself because some of you may be just tuning in from the internet and maybe you aren't familiar with my channel. My channel's name is Tamra, the Judeo Christian Medium, and that's me. I'm Tamra. I am a Jewish Christian medium. And hi, Sea Hag. Thank you. Let me introduce my team. We have God who is all around us, who I cannot even begin to explain. But we have Jesus, Archangel Michael, there to my right, Archangel Metatron to my left, Archangel Eric Medhus also to my left, Archangel Gabriel, who sits in front of me, Mother Mary to my right, right at my right hand shoulder, Father Joseph, same thing, but my left shoulder. And then in a semicircle, we have Archangel Sandalphon. Oh, the glare is just bothering me on my glasses. There, I'll try to keep it steady, guys. Archangel Sandalphon, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Azrael, Archangel Jophiel, Archangel Uriel, which is me, Archangel Zadkiel, Archangel Jeremiah, Archangel Raguel, Archangel. They're also making fun of me and teasing me as I go through, so forgive me. Um, Archangel Chamuel, and they're trying. I'm like, stop making me laugh. Archangel Chamuel, they're relentless. Archangel Ezekiel, Archangel Haniel, and Archangel Daniel. And we have the Pleiadians, the tall whites, and the arcturians. Okay, guys, so let's get started. Yes, the gang's all here, Sandra. Hi, how are you doing? Hi, Diane. Good to see you again, too. Okay, so as you guys can see, I've come from the beach, so please forgive my appearance. I've said this already. So I just took some notes this week, and I'll just tell you guys a little bit about what Jesus told me, and then you guys can chime in, ask questions. If you have questions from any other time, you can ask those, and we'll just kind of like wing it. So, Jesus wants to talk about S relations, romantic times. So, guys, as always, let me fix this. As always, oh, there, that's better. These are suggestions, and these suggestions are especially geared towards light workers, galactic beings, empaths, um, you know, that category, but it's for everyone, but especially benefiting starseeds. So let's talk a little bit about S relations. Jesus's suggestion, and this is not going to be for everyone, but we've been talking for a while about S relations, and we definitely came up with the idea that myself and probably many of you are what is considered demisexual, which is really only enjoying S relations. Like, if you were to be really honest, like really feeling comfortable and happy and at peace having S relations with someone that you have an emotional connection with. So he and I have been discussing that for a while because that is definitely true for me. And And then we went even further and we came up with this term, and it may have been used somewhere already, but I haven't heard it. And so it's called spirituosexual. And I hope my channel doesn't get flagged, but it's about having relations with someone who you connect with spiritually. Now, last week I mentioned John Gray, and he talks a lot about connecting, couples connecting the masculine and feminine, and it's not just heterosexual couples. So he talks about it on a hormonal level, meaning if you resonate with masculine energy, certain things are going to increase your masculine energy and make you feel good. And certain things would increase your feminine energy if you are the feminine that make you feel good. And so Jesus is saying there are things that if you're spiritual, if you're a star seed, that are going to make you feel better. And so John Gray discusses having a physical attraction, physical connection, emotional, spiritual, meaning sometimes religious. So spiritual, physical, emotional, and intellectual. So Jesus is confirming that all of those things would really help. It would help for a couple to stay together. And this is, like I said, whether you're heterosexual or whatever you are, this would help having all of those elements in place. I personally have never been with someone where all of those elements were in place, but Jesus has told me that that would be necessary for my true happiness. True, and he's saying right now, like he hates to use the word happiness because that could have sort of a fake connotation. People use that to hurt each other, especially dark reptilians. Narcissists will be like, "You don't seem happy," like like if you're complaining about something. So happiness is not the best term, but more like what would feel more comfortable, content, right. Um, so it's a tough ask trying to find that in someone, but also Jesus is saying it would be very rewarding, especially for star seeds. And he does understand many male star seeds, especially, and some female, as they're going through their especially their youth, can, and also depending on trauma that's happened, but can be, because think of star seeds are very, very much want to connect with others. So there is that element of star seeds that Jesus is they're all laughing. That could be like kind of frisky, especially before you really realize like you want to settle down, you know what you want. And just there is they're saying all these things at once, guys. I'm sorry, but like they're saying like heavy crushes and attraction, and they're showing me like male star seeds, or you know a lot of stars that we know. um, it's really tough, especially think of the word star. It's like a star seed. Think of like Hollywood and all of these really attractive star seeds hanging out together, and reptilians too. So it's just it's very complicated to explain, but as people want to settle down, and depending on how sensitive you are, Jesus is just saying um, he would like me to do like a whole separate video at some point going more in depth about sacred. I think I could say this on YouTube, like sacred sexuality. I don't really know all the rules of YouTube. I do worry about what I say, but I mean, hopefully we're all adults here. I could say that. So if you have any questions on that, if you find that that's something that resonates with you, I know personally I get stumped in relationships because I like to take things very slowly, and I'm very sensitive, and just like holding someone's hand is can be very emotional for me. Kissing can be very emotional for me. And it's also something that with the sexual, what is it called? Sexual revolution. Like it's not something that I've fully honored, because I just, society doesn't necessarily work that way. And, but anyway, I'm figuring that out for myself, but I've always taken it slowly with people. But I have found and been very startled at how they view relations, and then how I view relations. Um, oh yeah, and I'll tell this story. I was with someone that I really loved, and I was just being affectionate with him. And he said, "Oh, are you horn?" I don't want to use the word, but he was just like the horn word. He's like, "Oh," and he said it kind of like sassy, like, "Oh, you feeling horn? You know what? Frisky." And it just really took me off guard, guys, because I just wanted to connect with him. And so that's how different I was than him. So I don't know. Can you guys relate to any of this at all? Are you sensitive in that area? Oh, Led Zeppelin came on the radio. Yes. Led Zeppelin is a favorite of Jesus. So. Oh, Sandra, I hope I'm not offending anyone with this talk. Uh, it's I'm just here to help. So um, okay, so let's move on to another subject here. Let's see. What else did Jesus want to talk about? I have little notes here on my phone. Um, so let's see. Oh, I told you guys last week that dogs are Pleiadian. They have the Pleiadian spirit. So Jesus told me something interesting. It's a little controversial. He said that for the most part, this is going to sound really weird. We should try to keep dog families together. And I know that sounds crazy, especially like people who live in the city, um, to have like a family of dogs. But um, Jesus said that's the most humane thing, that dogs actually miss their partners and their children. Well, I shouldn't say children, but they're like their puppies. And it's very controversial, but very true that dogs really have feelings. They they love their families just like we do, and that if if there's any way possible that you could keep them together. He says it's great that people who live in the city take care of a dog. He says dogs don't really belong in cities, um, but um, I thought that was an interesting thing, and I was like, I don't want to tell them that. That sounds so judgmental, um, but if you think about it, guys, think about how loving dogs are and how they would want to stay with their families. Also, Jesus told me that not all dogs love their owners or even like their owners. Dogs are very loving, but if a dog has like a dark owner, someone with dark energy, a dark reptilian owner, um, and Jesus doesn't like that term owner for dogs. The dog will not necessarily love the owner or even like them. Dogs are loyal, but many people think that dogs just love anyone that will feed them, and dogs are actually more sensitive and spiritual than that. So interesting. At local rescue dog. Okay, let me read through these. Um, love dogs and all. Oh, I blushed, Sandra, when I was talking about that. Could you tell I got embarrassed? Okay, CHAG, so interesting. And here I am looking at a local rescue dog website. That's so interesting. So, yes, another thing is, guys, any questions or comments you have, please ask me, because Spirit said that oftentimes what's on your mind is what he wants to talk about, if that makes sense. It's like a feedback loop. So, Alyssa, my dog is with me right now. Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm definitely getting a dog at some point. You're laughing. Oh, are they here to teach us about love? Yes, definitely. And to it's like a feedback loop. I love that expression, because we're here to teach them about love. Um, you can see it's a different kind of love. They can't talk to us, but um, so when I was a kid, my childhood dog Sammy would know I was sad. Yes, and actually, although I said last week that cats are reptilian, um, you know, no one cat or dog is exactly alike, but um, even sometimes you guys might notice, if you have cats, they can perceive and will have empathy if you're feeling bad. Okay, so just give me a minute, Blue Willow. Let's see if Jesus wants to say anything more about dogs. But they are the Pleiadian energy. And if you watch them, you can see that they're like fun, they're funny, loving, forgiving. They are like, they play jokes. They, but they can also be tough and loyal and protective. That's also a starseed quality. That's also a Pleiadian quality. That's a quality that confuses a lot of people. I know myself, I don't know about you guys, I've confused people. I'm very nice and kind and helpful, and people will assume that sometimes that I'm weak and I won't stand up for myself. So I try to let people know that I will take a stand. I will protect myself and others. And sometimes they don't believe it, but I do feel it's necessary to tell them that up front because I will fight. So, okay. Blue Willow, just give me a minute. I'm going to put you guys to the side, and I want to see if Jesus wants to tell me anything more about dogs, okay? Does it make sense to you guys that we would want to keep dogs with their families? Hold on. Okay, that's about it. He said it's pretty clear, pretty simple about dogs. That's all he wanted to say. Okay. Okay. When I was a kid, my childhood dog. Oh yeah, I already read that. Yeah. Um, that's awesome. I told the story about the accident we had with my dog. I won't tell that story right now. It's long and it's very very intense. I'm going to make a special video about that. Okay. Do you know if ascended masters reincarnate as regular human? Yes, sometimes if they want to, and archangels do too. So there are many different variations, guys, but um, the star seeds from the different planets, many have become, at least I can talk about my group. They have become archangels and they branch off and become human. I've told you all that Metatron has branched off and become Robin Williams, and um, Archangel Azrael has branched off and become, Mr. Rogers. And sometimes people will have they won't necessarily have like the soul of the archangel, but they will have the energy of the archangels. And when that happens, that person is usually a medium, or someone in a position of influencing the public. Not always. The I've talked to you about spiritual warfare, and when we come down with the archangel energy, sometimes we have a very difficult incarnation, and as soon as we get here, the dark reptilian energy is trying to stop us. So it's not always it's not always like the most I mean it's very rewarding. There's variations, but oftentimes it's very challenging, I should say. Okay. Yes, it makes sense. My mom has two dogs and they're both brothers. Oh, please thank your mom. Jesus is saying, please tell her from Jesus. If you can, if she doesn't think you're crazy, that he really, really appreciates it. Dogs are pure love, even though I said they don't always like love their owners. If their owners are cruel, um, they will be loyal, they will obey, they will protect, but they won't necessarily, I mean, they'll love, but not, they won't love to the same degree that they would love an owner that was like good to them. So definitely, if you feel like you're a star seed, if you can, please try to have pets and take care of them, and children and all of that, which leads me to talking about love. We'll talk about that. But let me look and see if you guys have questions. What did advice does Jesus have for someone relapsing with an eating disorder? Okay, so Jordan, the advice that they have is, if you try to see yourself as a star seed, meaning that you came here with a mission, and these dark thoughts, these dark energies, and you know it's dark if it's harmful. So eating disorders are harmful. They come from a dark place. They come from a dark energy. So try to think of yourself as a superhero that is fighting that dark energy, because that dark energy is trying to take you down. And an eating disorder is just a way for the dark energy to take you down, to take you away from your purpose, to take you away from your mission. And so when you do things that harm yourself, and this is not to make you feel guilty, because everyone in this room that has come here to earth has done things to harm themselves. It's just part of what happens here. But if you can just understand that you have this one vessel, and you are here as Jordan, this one time. I mean, you will come back, your soul will come back, but you have to protect, like, your number one job is to protect that vessel as best you can, and not only just protect it, but to help it thrive. So you've been given, that responsibility to do that, so you wouldn't just be doing it for yourself, you'd be doing it for spirit, for your ancestors, for your higher self, for your mission. And I know that sounds like very intense, but I don't know, it's really helped me, because it's just, I think it's called entropy, which means that it's the natural desire of earth and of us to um, sort of destruct, if that makes sense. I think it's a term used in, I don't know what that science is. It's a term used in a science talking about energy. But Jordan, I don't know if that's helpful. And also pray. So that's like the overall umbrella of what, I think I've mentioned it before. This is spiritual warfare, and the dark reptilian energy that hangs out in the fourth dimension knows your weaknesses. I fight my weaknesses every day. I even at my age, I still, even with my whole spiritual team, even with my background, like, I've been coming here since Cain and Abel. Someday I'll let you guys know all of my lifetimes, but I struggle, and it's so sneaky. I am on a special diet, and even with that, guys, like, it creeps in, like, oftentimes I'll just eat an extra meal too late. And Jesus will say, like, stop, you don't need that meal. And I'm lucky I have this team. I'm a medium. So they're talking directly to me, but it's really hard. But it is helpful. Just feel like you hate the way you look. Oh, so restricting. Well, just know overall, Jordan, okay? In your lifetime, you're going to look so much better with moderate diet and exercise, like finding the right diet for you and continuing that, because staying stable helps with like muscle tone and your skin. So you'll actually look better um, staying like with at that stable weight. And also, you've got to figure out who are you looking better for, what benefit it is. Of course, it's a benefit for your health to just to maintain a healthy diet, a healthy weight. But as far as like, looking like an Instagram model, how is that actually benefiting your life? Do you is it bringing in love? Like this tonight, the topic seems to be about love. So, Jordan, is that bringing more love into your life? Because I don't want to be presumptuous, but that's what we really want. We want to complete our mission, our purpose, and we want love, to exchange love with, other people and our pets. Let's see. I don't know if that's helpful, Jordan. Teachings, CHAG, what does that mean? And then, is it connected to past lives? Okay. Yes. It's not, to be honest, just validation. Okay. Okay. So validation, we do need validation. I'm not going to tell you, Jordan, oh, you don't need validation. We do need validation. It's just we, as starseeds, we need to find it in the right places. And a lot of the advice out there is like, you don't need validation, but you do. And Jesus has told me that. One of the reasons why I'm doing this channel and one of the reasons I go live is to get validation. We need validation. It's so funny that I just was talking about this yesterday. The God, the archangels, um, all of us, our spiritual team, which many of you have different factions. I've heard of different planets, different admirals, things like that. Whoever your ancestors are, your lineage, whatever that is, they need validation. I just talked to Jesus about this week. It's one of the things that really bothers Jesus is when people say you don't need validation. We all need validation, and they need it. That's why they ask us to pray. So that's like a big myth. So, I'm glad that's helpful. But Sandra, is it connected to past lives? Yes, it is. So, Jordan, what I've been told is the mental and physical issues that we have in this lifetime, we have those in all of our lifetimes. So I have celiac disease. I'm on the spectrum. I have something called dyscalculia. I'm obviously very sensitive and a medium. I've been a medium in every single lifetime. So I have had celiac disease in every lifetime. And for the way that they described it to me is it's like a contract. So we come back and we figure out how to deal with that issue in this lifetime. So Like when I was with Jesus in Israel, I was with him at that time. He said I had the celiac disease. It was very easy for me because we didn't have a lot of grains. So I don't know if that helps you, Jordan, but it's interesting that your name is Jordan's Journey, and we're talking about this journey. And guys, it really is about love. So Jordan, the 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 biggest love that you could give yourself would be to fight those urges. And Jesus is saying the urges are very, very strong because you have this issue and then you have this pressure um, coming at you. But Jesus is saying, especially if you slip, like if you go in one direction too far, he's saying like too far into restriction or too far the other way, then that's when it's really hard. And forgive me for closing my eyes, I'm talking to them. He's saying that's when it's really hard because that's when the dark energy can take a hold of you and really get to you, sort of like kick you when you're down. And he's saying in those moments, please pray to him. Please pray for assistance. And if you can just stop time, just sit with the uncomfortable feelings, they will pass. He's saying that expression, this too shall pass. And the best thing that you could do is in those dark moments when you've slipped is to not beat yourself up, is to show yourself love, because they all hover around us and they're trying to give us love in our weakest moments, and we block it because we feel like we don't deserve it because we've done something that's not up to our standard. That plus the dark energy is talking in our ear too, saying negative things. And how you can really see that in action, guys, is go and sit in a city and watch people who um, you could assume that they've taken a lot of substances, and you'll see them on the street shouting at people, having arguments. Jesus is saying, because they open themselves up to the other side in a way through substances, they are connecting with the dark reptilian energy in the fourth dimension that is always feeding on us. So they are legitimately having arguments with spirit. So that there is proof, but just know that that energy is preying upon us. And everything that we do that is harmful to us or other people invites that energy in. And that's why in all the vampire movies, they'll say, you have to invite the vampire in. So remember this, guys. Like, I'm going off on different offshoots and tangents, but remember this when you're dating or when you're going to do something. Ask yourself, is this good for me or is this harmful? And also for the other person. And that right there should clear up like about, 95% or more of your decision making. So, Jordan, they're asking you to be your best friend, to be your parent, and have talks with yourself and talk to them, and just know that you're not perfect, and you have this issue. You're going to slip, but don't beat yourself up when it happens. I don't know if that, yeah. I hope I'm not beating a dead horse, but so I want to talk a little bit about. Oh, wait. Since you mentioned it, I'm going back to the blood type diet. I think that that's a good place to start, CHAG, and then also tweak it from there. Pay attention to how things make you feel. Um, and, if you can, try to get an allergy test. I haven't had that done yet. But also, oh, you're welcome, Jordan. Also, you know, as a medium, I have been lucky because I talk to them. Try to use whatever modality you have, um, tarot cards, pendulums. We talked, a lot of people in this group have a pendulum. And I said to silently pray to Jesus, use your pendulum, ask him about certain things. Like, not only have they told me not to eat gluten, but they told me not to eat tomatoes, that they're too acidic, sugar. So, oh, you're welcome. So that has really helped me a lot. And also, if you'd like, you can email me and book a reading with me, and I can talk to them too. And maybe we can get validation on, what things you should be eating. Jesus and I always joke because Jesus has come here, guys. I can't tell you who he's been, um, but he's always a pescatarian, and that works for him. And I've always been celiac, and so we have these like fake, not fake, but it's not like intense, but we argue, and I always tease him. Well, like I harass him, and I'm like, well, that's not fair, like, because in his lifetimes he's always naturally thin, and he has like wavy, beautiful wavy hair, and we argue, and I'm like, well, you've had the better lifetimes. And then he reminds me, and I want to remind you guys that we chose this, okay? And it doesn't mean that and that sounds harsh, because I know a lot of you have probably been through really harsh things, but just know your higher self chose it. But not everything. We didn't choose all of our trauma. Let me make that clear. Um, I'm speaking in terms of, I chose to have celiac. That will always be with me. I didn't choose some of the trauma that I've had. So let me be very clear, okay? And that's actually a really important point that I want to make, is many of us have come here with a mission. And I told you the dark reptilian energy feeds off of us. So many of us have had way more trauma than we signed up for. Like, we thought, okay, this could happen, this might happen, but sometimes like the most has happened, way more than we can even handle. And that's where my like that happened to me, and that's where the spiritual team comes in. And that's why many will experience a dark night of the soul and end up being separated from everyone and everything that they know, just to heal while you're here. um oh, CHAG, that is an awesome deck, the Radley Valentine deck. Yes. Please continue to let me know how that works. Oh, your hair is curly. I love curly hair too. It's interesting. So when Jesus has been here, so he said this about me, is we always like partners that look opposite of us. So you can see I'm fair, I have light eyes. I tend to like darker men with at least a wave, or sometimes naturally curly hair. Think of like Middle Eastern types, sometimes a little bit darker, sometimes a little bit lighter. So I don't know. Alyssa, are you attracted to your type or opposite? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much trauma have I had? Oh, you've had a lot of trauma, Jordan. Like, you've had more trauma than you signed up for. Like, you signed up for a challenge, like a major challenge. That would be hard for anyone. But then the trauma that came in was from the choices of other reptilians, darker reptilians that have been in your life or the life of people around you, and understand that times got really dark, guys. um, that's why I'm here talking to you guys on YouTube, and many other people are, because times got very dark, and the dark reptilian energy was taking over, especially in certain areas. And we can't have this. The star seeds are too sensitive. We won't survive. Okay, straight hair. Okay. So another thing that happens with star seeds is because many of us are, not all, but many of us are either introverted or social introverts. So a lot of things that we like to do are on our own, and many of us have been surrounded by dark reptilian people, or even just reptilian energies that tend to stick together. So many of us have become isolated. So the reason I'm talking to you guys, and many people are reaching out through social media, through these platforms, is because we need support. Starseeds do, even if you are on a mission and you're completing it, we do actually need support, and especially when the dark energy, this spiritual warfare that we're having right now, is taking over. So any way that you can um, group together with people and find other star seeds. And I know it's hard. I know a lot of you have been through trauma, and a lot of you have a hard time trusting, but any way that you can to uh, purchase things from star seeds, tune into star seeds, befriend star seeds, with all of this advice that Jesus is giving to date star seeds. All of that is going to help too. Um, We choose our families, Sihag. So Sihag said, we choose our families and situations in order to learn. Okay, so Sihag, that is true. Okay, we do choose our families, but some of us choose our families in order to break generational curses. So it's not necessarily like, not everything happens for a reason. So, not every trauma that is done in those situations is for you to learn. Sometimes your soul has already learned that lesson, it's already progressed. You've just volunteered into that family so that you can actually help them, so they can learn, and you can break the pattern, meaning your presence will help the next generation to not have the dark reptilian energy. So you're asked to find the star seeds in your family and help them. So um, there are actually lessons that are unnecessary, and especially if someone has trauma in their family, and they're trying to help with that and break a generational curse. Absolutely, Jesus is saying it is not necessary. Like, in that situation, you've you're probably you are an not probably you are an old soul. You don't need to keep learning those lessons. So especially, you don't want to have any relationships outside of your family that are dealing with toxic people, dealing with narcissists, working in a narcissistic workplace. Please don't hold on to that idea that everything happens for a reason, and that it's up to you to make situations right, to stay in a toxic workplace or keep that toxic friend that you've had for 20 years because you're their anchor. You're the only one that could help them. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, on a scale, okay, yeah, I already told you that. Okay, will do. Let me look through the questions. Yeah, that's been a big issue that Jesus wants to talk about is this idea that we have, like, everything happens for a reason, and it's just a lesson. And he said, you know, he understands where that came from, because there are major things that happen for a reason, like we choose what family we're born into, but it doesn't mean like we need to keep letting ourselves be abused. In fact, sometimes the best way you can help toxic people is to show them that you won't put up with the toxicity. And if we all did that, then toxic people would change. They would be like, this is not working. I have no one to hang around with. I have no one to help me because um, my toxicity has scared everybody off. So if you really want to help, um, removing yourself from situations and not putting up with bad behavior, that's like the one of the best things that you can do. Keeping in mind, if there's any little ones, their one of their main goals is to save the children. So in that case, if there's any way that you can help the little people, of course, please do that. But please don't, especially in the name of metaphysics or in the name of Jesus, feel like you always need to turn the other cheek, to take the abuse, to take the hit. um, Yes, Hag, the best thing you could do for your family is to be true to yourself and to do your talents, complete your mission the best that you can. Because yeah, like you said, you will be an example for your family. And so I think people have asked me before. They've asked me, when you pass, what's it like? Well, it is kind of like that movie with Scrooge. What is that movie where he gets to see like what would have happened? But one thing that's really challenging is we are shown different paths that we could have taken. And actually, because I've had near death experiences and I had a dark night of the soul, my spiritual team, I did a life review while I was still alive. And they showed me different paths that I could have taken. So, yeah, they're really tying this into everything happens for a reason, because it doesn't, like, sometimes when people pass, they'll see that they married the wrong person and stayed for 20 years and lived without love. And that is not that's not a lesson for anyone. Jesus doesn't want anyone to live in that, if that makes sense. A Christmas Carol, thank you. Um, but some of these concepts have blown my mind, and they're a little bit different than what we hear. Um, and what has come from the Bible and religious teachings. And Jesus does understand where it all came from. Um, and I think that's what they talk about he double hockey sticks and purgatory, but really it's just us sitting with that information, knowing like we actually have free will, and we can make choices that make our life better. And there is what is called needless suffering, and Jesus showed me circumstances in my life where I had needless suffering. Like I came here to break a generational curse, but there were so many offshoots of needless suffering, and there was so much help that I didn't take. And so there's that. And there's absolutely no reason for you to live without love. Like when you look back on your life, when you pass, what's going to matter is how much you gave and received love. And Jesus is saying, many of you just give it. It's really important for you to find circumstances where you receive love back, real love, guys, like deep, true, committed love, and not just from your partner, from your pets, from if you can, as much as you can. It's earth, it's the 3D, so this isn't heaven, but as much as you can, try. And some of that love will come through your diet, will come through where you choose to live, um, how you choose to spend your time, who you choose to be around. And all you can do is, all they ask is that you try. So okay, let me look at these questions. Ask Jesus why James. Who's James Arthur? You guys are so funny. All right, I'll ask. Okay. If you think someone is reptilian, what are the chances they actually are? It's interesting. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're reptilian. If you're feeling like they're not helping you, um, and definitely if they're harming you, it doesn't matter if you know 100% if they're reptilian, they're not good for you. Um, if that makes sense. Like I'm really getting good, but I'm a medium. So I'm getting, I'm also talking to spirit constantly, but I'm getting really good at seeing if people are reptilian. And like I've said before, not all reptilians are bad reptilians. So, I have some reptilians in my life that aren't horrible. Oh, so like as non-mediums, it's so funny. I've told you guys before, like many dark reptilians have different looks. I've told you about the blank eyes. Um, what I haven't really told you about is also look for the crazy eyes, which can be complicated because you can see my eyes are very emotional. But one thing to look for is when someone's eyes look like really excited, but they're not doing something positive. Like they might be charging at you, their body language, but their eyes are like, 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 and they might be smiling. Like a big body language of some dark reptilians is to smile. A lot of psychopaths smile a lot, but you'll see in their eyes, like they might come charging at, they often use their body, especially nowadays, especially in the States. Bullies will use their body language to intimidate you. They might just come charging at you, and they might do it while they're smiling, like, and it's very like off-putting, but I have noticed that is a very dark reptilian look. I told you about the blank look. I've told you reptilians usually need to make a lot of facial expressions to show you how they're feeling, and then they expect you to do the same. Like, I express a lot with my eyes, but they want you to, like, give them the smile. And okay, this is a look. I want to do this for you guys. Yes, the eyes are the windows of the soul. So I want to take off my glasses. Ooh, I got sun today. And I'm still blushing over the I'm a little warm talking to spirit, and I'm still blushing from talking about S relations. I'm actually very modest, if you can believe it. So, okay, this is a look I've seen on older dark reptilians. Now, think of a lifetime of frowning. So the eyes will be frowning, right? But then there's the smile. So I'm going to try to keep this. A lot of reptilians look like that when they get older. The eyes are frowning because they're not happy. And inside, the anger that they've always had is showing. So there's this frown, but then they don't want to let people know how they really feel. So they'll look like this and they'll go. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen that look on people? Was that good? I'm an actress, so that's just one look. It's very hard to describe. Maybe I'll make a whole video on toxic looks. So you have seen that look on people? It's very, very disturbing. I had a guy hit on me um, probably about 10 years ago, and he looked like that. He was like, "Hi." I was like, are you angry or happy? I can't just, and now I just look at people's eyes. I don't look at their facial expression to see how they're really feeling. But as someone on the spectrum, I never looked at people's eyes as a medium. It was too intense for me. But Jesus told me that I wouldn't survive. I had to start looking in people's eyes, and it's truly frightening. Um, don't trust them. A little bit like Joe Pesci. Yes, Joe Pesci. It's really good for acting. Yeah. Like, that's really frightening. Um, Joe Pesci. I think, yeah. That's what that, and so you can see, I've told you, like, different actors are star seeds, but we need a lot of reptilian actors, especially in commercials. You need someone to be like, yay, like that smile. The Shining. Oh yeah. Mm, Jack Nicholson. Yes, that's how he looks. And a lot of reptilian actors act that way. And then some star seeds are just imitating, acting is imitating our, if I was to be given a role as a psycho, well, a psycho is a dark reptilian. So I probably actually make some of those facial expressions. Um, But oh, it's getting to be that time, guys, to wrap it up. And I'm truly sorry if I embarrassed people with the S relations talk. And but I'm just trying. I'm here to help. um, oh, okay, guys. Any more questions before we wrap this up? It's getting we're going past the hour. Let me see if did I miss anything? All right, guys, I don't see any new questions. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great summer weekend. Thanks to you too, CHAG. Let's thank my spiritual team. Please, they're saying, you guys are part or of this community. Pray to them. If you haven't, um, it doesn't matter who your spiritual team is. Pray to them. They're here. They're listening. And try to, oh, good, Blue Willow. Thank you. I got really hot. Guys, try your best to figure out ways, and you can tell me, try to figure out ways to talk to spirit. I've told you different ways. You can ask them, like, I know that whenever I see a feather, it's Metatron. So that, like, things like that, you can make little deals with them, like show, for you, I'd like it to be a penny or something like that. And hopefully you guys are using things. Yes, Sandra, they do hear you, um, for sure. All right, I'm really going to go, and I will see you guys next week. And I'm going to try to do part 2 of George Soros. All right, bye, guys. Love you guys.